What's up, YouTube friends? Now, I've been doing a little spring cleaning here in the sewing room and trying to get everything nice and organized. Now, to be honest, I started last year and I still didn't get it finished. This year, I went ham on it. Now, my goal for this year is to be more organized and more productive with my time. So in order to remind myself that, today I'm going to show you how to make this owl pincushion. Now, this isn't a new project, it's just an updated project. So today I'm going to show you exactly how I make my owl pincushions. Not only will I have someone to talk to when I'm all alone here in the sewing room, but his wisdomous look will also remind me to stay on path. That's a win-win. If you'd like to see how I make my owl pincushions, stay tuned and I'll show you next. So the things you're going to need to make this owl pincushion are some pieces of scrap fabric. Now, I always like to use a darker fabric for the body of the owl and a light colored for the belly. You could use any color that you want though. You'll need a couple of eyes for your owl. Today I'll be using these cute bamboo buttons. I think they look really natural and will look awesome on my owl. You could also use beads or even felt. For the base of my owl, today I'm going to be using these little wood coasters. I got a 4-pack at Hobby Lobby for $4.99. But with my 40% off coupon, they were only $2. You're also going to need some heavy thread and a needle. We will have to do a little bit of hand sewing, but it's not bad. Today I'll be using the crochet thread. I'll also be using my hot glue gun, my sewing machine with matching thread. And to make our templates, you're going to need a protractor. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is make our template. So on one piece of paper, I'm going to grab my ruler and a pencil, and I'm going to draw an 8-inch line. Now on my protractor, I have a 90-degree line right here and a 180-degree line right here, and it comes together right here at the center. That's where I'm going to put the beginning of my line. And I'm going to come up my protractor 30 degrees and make a dot. Next, I'm going to take my ruler again. I'm going to line up the corner of my ruler with the point on my line and bring it up to my 30-degree mark and draw another 8-inch line. And now, just with a gentle curve, I'm going to join these two lines together. It does not have to be perfect. It should look like that. Next, I'm going to grab my second piece of scrap paper and I'm going to draw an 8-inch line again. Taking my protractor, I'm going to line up the beginning of my line with that point on my protractor. And this time I'm going to come up 85 degrees and make a mark. Grab your ruler again, line up your point with the corner of your ruler, match it with your 85-degree mark, and draw an 8-inch line. And just like before, with a gentle arc, join our lines. Now that we have our two pieces to our owl template all drawn out, I went ahead and traced it over to some cardboard and cut it out as a template. That way I could use it all the time. Next, you want to take your main body fabric for your owl. I'll be using this camo print and your largest template. And with my rotary cutter, I'm just going to cut around my template. Next, you want to grab the piece of fabric that you chose for the belly and your smallest template and cut out a piece again. Now that we have our two pieces, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my belly piece with one side of my body piece. Just like that, with right sides together. And I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine, and with a 1/4-inch seam allowance, I'm going to sew right down this side. I like to backstitch at the beginning and the end, and I find it easier to start at the wider side and work down to the point. Alright guys, so I'll be using a straight stitch and my length is a 2.5. I'm going to back stitch in the beginning and also the end. Now I'm going to take this over to my ironing board and I'm going to press this so that the seam lays to the dark side. Next, I'm going to fold this over and I'm going to match up this raw edge with this raw edge. So now I'm just going to take this over to my sewing machine with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to start here at the wide edge and sew all the way down, back stitching at the beginning and the end. So when you're finished with that, you should have a cone shape that looks like this. Now I'm just going to turn this right side out. And with my bone folder or something that's not sharp, I'm going to poke out the point. Now I'm just going to line this up so that the belly is in the front and it's centered in the middle. And I'm going to give it a press. Next, from the point of our owl, I'm going to measure down 2.5 inches and make a fold. Now you could make this shorter to 2 inches, you could make it longer to 3 inches if you want a squatter, fatter owl. This prototype one, I just went down 2 inches and it kind of makes a tall, skinny owl. So I'm just going to cut the difference and I did 2.5. So now I'm just going to iron down this crease. Now one thing I forgot to mention in the beginning is you are going to have to do a little bit of hand sewing, but it's not that bad. So I have my needle and thread. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come up from the back through my point of my nose. And now I just want to tack down my nose to the body piece. You want to make sure that you just go through one layer of fabric. So I'm going to go down and up. And then go back through the tip. I'm going to do that one more time just to make sure it's nice and secure. So I'm just going to take a little chunk out of the white. And then go up, back through the nose part. And that should be good enough to secure this down. So now I'm just going to tie a knot. So I'm just going to go back through the white. And with this little loop, I'm going to stick my needle through and pull it tight. And trim your threads or just break them, I guess. Now at this point, you could go ahead and hand sew on your eyes, but I like to wait to the end just so they don't look wonky-eyed, and I'll just use hot glue to glue those on. Next, you want to grab your needle and your heavy-duty thread, in my case, my crochet thread. I went ahead and I doubled it on my needle. So now we're just going to do a running stitch all the way around the rim of our owl. So it's very easy, you just want to go back and forth, and I'm staying about a 1/4 inch away from the raw edge. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Alright guys, so I went all the way around my owl. You either want to tie a knot on this end or make sure that it doesn't pull through, because then you have to start all over again. Now it's time to stuff this, and I'm just going to be using polyfill today. But you could go ahead and get that crushed walnut stuff and stick that in there before you put your polyfill, and that would work out great too, but I don't have any. So I'm going to grab a handful of polyfill, and I'm going to stuff it in my owl. I like to stuff this as tight as I can, as long as I can still get this closed. Alright guys, so I have this stuffed as full as I think it can handle. So now I'm just going to take my strings and tie a knot. So first I'm going to go around one time, then a second time, and pull this tight. And now just tie a knot. Alright guys, so now your owl should look like this. Now I didn't get it all the way tight here at the bottom, but that's just fine because it's going to get covered up with our wood. So now I'm just going to take my hot glue gun and I'm going to put a whole bunch of glue here at the bottom. I'm going to line it up on my wood plank. I like this one better because it kind of looks like feet. And stick him down. And doesn't that just look cute? And now you just want to attach your eyes. Like I said, you can hand sew these on if you want. I'm just going to use my glue gun. And there's a couple different ways that you could put your eyes on. On the original one, I went ahead and I put the eyes on the outside and it looks fine. But for this one, I think I'm going to tuck the eyes halfway into his nose. Something like that. I just think it gives him a little bit more personality. So I'm just going to put glue on the owl. And then stick on my button. Now I'm trying very hard not to make his eyes look wonky, but if it does, that's just more character. Now the final step is to fill him up with pins.